Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Welcome again. Welcome back to our linguistics course. Last time, I remember we started to discuss linguistics, right? And we defined linguistics as the scientific study of language. And we said, what do we mean by scientific? We said we mean empirical and objective. And we said like empirical, it follows the methodologies, the general methodologies of science. And when we say objective, we meant that it doesn't follow any pre-received like thoughts or prototypes, not stereotypes. يعني ما بتتبع أي صور نمطية سيئة لهذه اللغة. And we cannot judge a language as it is perfect or it is beautiful or even ugly and primitive. بدائية أو قبيحة إلى حكينا هذا الكلام المحاضرة السابقة. Today, in today's lecture, we will be talking about the main branches of linguistics. In linguistics, we have like 6 main branches. We have also other branches. We call them sub-branches of linguistics, but the main focus will be on these main branches. What do you think are the classifications of these branches? I think I mentioned a hint on them when we start to discuss the slides. I'll be asking you to turn your cameras off. Okay, please. Anyhow, like we have in linguistics, we have 6 main branches. We can classify them according to 3 things. Right now, we'll see. The main fields of studying, we can classify them to 3 things. Fields or branches that study sound, branches that study structure, and branches that study meaning. So here are the 3 main fields: sound, structure, and meaning. Each type of study has two branches. A branch معناها فرع، okay, فرع أساسي, main branch. و sub branch معناها فرع يعني مش أساسي. Okay. First, we have phonetics and we have phonology. They both study sound, the study of individual speech sounds, and the study of patterning of speech sounds. Morphology and syntax, they study structure. Semantics and pragmatics, they study. Okay, these are just like hints and glimpses of each study, but after that, we'll be like having full slides talking about each study, because this is like the main course, or the main all the course, we will be studying these 6 things: phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics, and then pragmatics. But phonetics deals with sounds. When we say sounds, we mean individual sounds. Okay, phonology deals with the pattern of speech sounds, like not individual sounds, no, like how we combine these sounds together. Morphology, it deals with the structure of words. So here we have structure. First, we have words, and as expected, we have structure of sentences, which is syntax. Then we have meaning, semantics. We study the literal meaning. When we say literal meaning, يعني قصدنا إنه المعنى الحرف، المعنى الأصلي للكلمة. So we have the literal meaning, and pragmatics, we study the meaning in context. ندرس المعنى خلال السياق. مش المعنى الحرفي، لا، المعنى لما يكون في سياق معين. يعني the meaning can like change depending on like different contexts. So we will be studying all of these. Okay, these are main branches. Okay, we have sound, structure, meaning. Phonetics, phonology study sound. Morphology and syntax, they study structure. Semantics and pragmatics, they study meaning. Right now, we'll be talking about what is different what is the difference between a linguist and a polyglot? Okay, I mean like from the derivation يعني اشتقاق الكلمة نفسها linguist يعني واضحة انها جاية من كلمة linguistics فأكيد معناها الشخص الذي يدرس علم اللغويات. So when we say linguist, we mean like a person who studies linguistics or maybe like specialized in linguistics. A polyglot, maybe it will be like a little bit difficult to understand it until like we take break. Who is a linguist and who is a polyglot and are they the same? Obviously, no, they are not the same. We said linguist is a person who studies linguistics, but a polyglot, someone who learns language. So maybe right now, like we have like some friends who know Arabic and they like we study English. So we learn new language, which is English. After that, like maybe like he rethinks and like says, okay, I want to study another language. Like he starts to maybe to learn French, maybe Italian language. So this person, we call it a polyglot. When we say a polyglot, we mean only a person who studies, who learns language, بتعلم اللغات كيف يحكي كيف يكتب. So he only studies, learns language. If you know one language, okay, right now we have some classifications, right? So focus on this. If you know one language, you are a monolingual. If you know two languages, you are a bilingual. If you know more than two languages, you are a polyglot. However, right? So a polyglot is a person who knows more than two languages, okay? So you have to focus on this. This will be like, maybe this will come in the MCQ questions. Like it will tell you like, maybe in the true false, like a person who knows three languages is a polyglot. Yes, that's true because he knows more than two languages. However, if you know more than even one language, we can call you a multilingual. So if you are a bilingual, you are also a multilingual. And if you are a polyglot, so you are also a multilingual. So multilingual person he is that person who knows more than one language. So we have a monolingual. He knows only one language, like maybe Arabic, right? And like bilingual, like he knows two languages, Arabic and English. And like maybe like some people, maybe friends, colleagues, they know like Arabic, English, and French. So we call them polyglot because they know more than two languages. However, the person who knows English and Arabic, we call him a multilingual because he knows more than one language. And the person who knows even Arabic, English, and French, and even like maybe Italian, like maybe Russian, like maybe if he knows even like 6 languages, we also call him a multilingual because it is like a person like he has like variations of languages. I think like it is obvious يعني هذا الفرق الواضح بين البوليجلوت واللينغوست. البوليجلوت هو الشخص فقط اللي بيتعلم اللغة، كيف يحكي، كيف يكتب، كيف listening, like speaking, and these stuff. This is a polyglot. والbilingual والmonolingual, I think like they're easy. Okay, right now who's a linguist? A linguist, he is someone who studies language, not learns. No, he studies. بدرسهم. Linguists study every aspect of language, including vocabulary, grammar, the sound of language, and how words change over time. We call this historical linguistics. This, how words, like maybe how the whole language changes over time. We call this like historical linguistics. Anyhow, إذا عالم اللغويات هو شخص اللي بدرس اللغة من جوا، تمام؟ بدرس كيف هذه الفوكاب جت، ايش اصلها، كيف قواعد الجرامر محطوطه، على ايش بتعتمد. لكن البوليجلوت بيتبع القواعد هذه، ما بدرس كيف هذه القواعد جت، لا هو فقط بيتبعها. The sound of language اللي هو الفونetics والphonology and how words change over time. So يعني maybe we can say like not directly, like person like you in the next semester you'll be studying linguistics and you will be studying languages. So yes, you can call yourselves as linguists because like yeah, you obviously study languages. And also you can call yourself bilingual because like you obviously speak two languages, Arabic and English. So obviously in the next semester you will be linguists and you also will be a bilingual people, which is something awesome. Anyhow, I think this difference is obvious. Polyglot is a person who just learns. A linguist, he is a person who studies. If we want like to make like a simile اللي هو يعني نعمل نشبه الشيء ممكن نحكي انه مثلا like if we have a car, right? Like if we have a car لو عندنا سيارة, a polyglot he is like a driver. هو فقط السائق, هو اللي بسوق السيارة. Okay, يعني هو بيعرف كيف يحرك السيارة زي هيك. So a polyglot is the driver. But the linguist he is the mechanic. هو الميكانيكي, هو اللي بيشوف ايش السيارة من جوا, ايش بتحتوي, هو اللي بيقدر يصلحها, يحكي هذه ليش بتطلع هذه هيك هيك هيك. لكن a polyglot is so like we need to know something. I think I'll be writing this, or I wrote this in the second slide. Okay, being a linguist means that you could be a polyglot. Okay, yet it is not necessary to be a polyglot in order to study linguistics or to be a linguist. Okay, this is a meme يعني انه بمعنى اخر انه مش ضروري انت تكون عالم لغويات عشان تكون متعدد اللغات اللي هو polyglot. يعني مثلا مش لما نيجي مثلا if I'm a linguist, so it is necessary for me to be a polyglot. No, you can be a linguist, still you only speak one language, right? And also you can be a polyglot, still you don't know nothing about linguistics or the language itself. All right? So هي يعني they don't depend on each other. يعني العلاقة مش طردية وهي ليست عكسية كمان. بمعنى انه اذا انت شخص عالم باللغويات مش ضروري تكون بتعرف تحكي اكثر من لغة. اوكي، واذا انت بتعرف تحكي اكثر من لغة برضه مش ضروري تكون عالم باللغويات. لكن ممكن يصير انه you can talk more than two languages or maybe one language and you are a linguist because like you study linguistics and you study like the structure of the language and these stuff. Okay, Jamal, I think it's clear. Okay, like right now we'll be having other sub branches of linguistics. Think of some sub branches in case you know. I think right now I just mentioned when we said how words change over time, اللي هو historical linguistics. Like we study how a language changed over time. Like the language, like the Anglo-Saxons, is not the same language that the English people speak right now because it differs a lot, like real a lot. The sound system, the writing system, the vocab system, every part differs from today's language. So we have sociolinguistics, okay? The study of how social factors, including class, race, and ethnicity, influence language. اوكي، هذه يعني اللي هو اظني في كورس تروح بالجامعه الاسلاميه باختيار اللي هو اللغويات I think الاجتماعيه. I don't know. I think الاجتماعيه. It shows how like different people use different vocabs, different sounds when they speak. So this is a sub branch, okay? Social linguistics or sociolinguistics. I don't know how we can pronounce it. Okay, neurolinguistics. Okay, this is like a combination of two things: the study of language and the brain, and how brain damage, aphasia. I think we took aphasia in oral 2 with Dr. Abd Rabbo. It is the maybe oral 1, I think. Yeah, oral 1. اللي هو partial loss of memory. فقدان مؤقت للذاكرة affects language and the location of language centers in the brain. اوكي، يعني هذا له بعلم الاحياء انه بيجمع بين علم اللغة وعلم الاعصاب او علم اوكي علم الاعصاب حاجة زي هيك. Psycholinguistics, the study of how we acquire. Okay, this is important because I think someone asked this question. The study of how we acquire our first language, how we acquire our second language, and how we produce and understand sentences. This is psycholinguistics. And yani, here we study like how do children, like I think there is a subfield called first language acquisition and second language acquisition. First language acquisition is it is related or concerned with children, how like they acquire their first language, their tongue language, or their mother language. Second language acquisition is like for adult people, like how we can how we are able to learn our second language, and why sometimes like we can face difficulties. And like there is this kind of comparison, like why do children learn their first language? Like they don't have difficulties. Still, when they want to learn another language, like they face some obstacles and difficulties. Okay. Computational linguistics, study of artificial languages, اللغات المصطنعة يعني. Computer programming and modeling of natural language by computers, including voice production and recognition. Okay, this is like for IT things. So, like how can we create artificial languages? Historical linguistics. Okay, historical linguistics. This is I have mentioned the study of language change over time, including the study of language families and relationships among the world's languages. يعني هنا احنا بندرس ايش جذور اللغة, right? Like I think we all know like English, Italian, no, like Italian and Spanish, I think languages, we call them the Romance languages, and English and these other languages like English, I think Germany, yeah, we call them like they came from Latin language. كلهم اجوا من اللغة اللاتينية اللي هو جذر الأصلي. So this is the specialization of historical linguistics. We study these things and how language changes over time. Anthropological linguistics, the study of language and culture, including the study of kinship terms and how language shapes cultural identity. Okay, they are not complicated. I mean, like you have only to like know henses. فقط يعني حاجات هيك اللي بنسميها احنا keywords اللي كلمات مفتاحية. اوكي, anthropological linguistics معناها انه study culture. Okay, historical اللي هو how language changes over time. computational linguistics اللي هو ايش؟ الكمبيوتر programming, يعني بيجمع بين الكمبيوتر واللانجوج تنتين مع بعض. النيورولينغويستكس اللي هو البرين واللانجوج. psycholinguistics اللي هو acquire our first language, acquire second language. والsocial linguistics study how social factors. So every part is related to the other. Okay, I think like we finished this slide, but I think like we have time still because it only have been 20 minutes. So we will, is everything clear? Is there any point that you didn't get before we move to the next slide? Okay, seems like there are no questions. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Right now, we will start with phonetics and phonology. In my opinion, right, this is the most benefitable branch of linguistics that you will be ever seeing, because like morphology and syntax, like they are not that useful. Semantics and pragmatics, yes, they are not only that useful, but phonetics and phonology, especially phonetics, like it will help you a lot in your practical life, because like it teaches you how to spell words correctly, and you will learn like a lot of things. Not with me, and not even in the linguistics course, but we will when you will take it, inshallah, the second semester next year, your second year, the second semester, we have like a course called phonetics and phonology. So let's start. Phonetics and phonology, we have just mentioned them, and we say like they both study sound. All right. So we have phonetics and we have phonology, and they are similar in the name, pho and pho. So what is the difference between them? What is phonetics? this is the outline of these slides. What is phonetics? And first, we will be taking phonetics definition. We'll be taking articulation process. I think I defined articulation. I said articulation, it is the process how we produce utterances, لو الكلمات المحكية. Sub branches of phonetics, articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. We'll be taking like tenses of each one. What is, then we will move to phonology. What is phonology? Phonology's definition. And then the most important part, what is the difference between phonetics and phonology? Like, yeah, I mean, like they both study sound, but what is the difference? When we say phonetics and when we say phonology, we will see what is the difference. Like, I think there's 5 differences between each one. So first, phonetics definition. Okay, phonetics, we call it علم الأصوات أو الصوتيات. Okay, this is phonetics. Phonology, we don't call it علم الأصوات. We call it علم وظائف الأصوات. علم وظائف الأصوات. We will be taking this when we move to phonology. But however, you have to know that phonetics is علم الأصوات أو الصوتيات, the scientific study of individual sounds. All right, focus that I bolded individual, like I made it stand out because it is the word key or the keyword, الكلمة المفتاحية للفرق بين الphonetics والphonology. We said phonetics is the study of individual sounds, but phonology, it is the study of patterning of sounds. We'll see what is the difference, but right now let's focus on individual. So from the meaning, when we say individual, like we mean الأصوات على انفراد، كل صوت لحاله. Okay, ما بنخلط بين الأصوات، لا ندرس كل صوت لحاله. This is what we mean by phonetics. We study each sound alone. From where do we pronounce it? What are like the body parts that are specialized in producing it? Right now, we'll see. Phonetics. Phonetics is the branch of linguistics that is concerned with the scientific study of speech sound. So in phonetics, okay, of course, it is a branch of linguistics, and it studies sounds. Phonetics is referred to as the core of linguistics. All right, let's just take 20 seconds and think, why do linguistics or linguists call phonetics as the core of linguistics? Core معناها أساس، أو يعني احنا بدنا نترجمها ترجمة مش حرفية لكن ترجمة يعني نفس المعنى، معناها اللي هو العمود الفقري للغويات. ليش احنا بنسمي علم الأصوات هو العمود الفقري للغويات؟ Okay, like you can like think right now. After that we will move to why. Okay. We call it the core, right? The core of linguistics. نسميه احنا أساس اللغويات because relating to language we have these things, right? The process of language. I think I said this before. First, we have sound, right, and letter. Okay, just forget about the letter. Let's stick with sound because letter, it is existed because we have sounds, and we said this in linguistics in the first lecture. A language occurred first as vocal sounds. Okay, there was no written form. So first we have sound. يعني الحاجة اسمها الصوت. Okay, that's the first something. Then sound, combining one sound to another, we create a word, right? Spoken or written, utterances or sentences. Then we have, okay, I think I replaced them. Okay, then we have like sentence. Okay, I'm sorry, I will be editing this when I send you the slide. Then we have a sentence. After the word, we have a sentence, spoken or written. Then we have a conversation or a paragraph, written or spoken. But to focus on, we first have sound. أول حاجة عندنا الصوت. ما في صوت ما حيكون في حاجة لأنه الصوت هو الأساس. So consequently, because of this, we call phonetics as the core of linguistics because it studies sounds, studies individual sounds. تدرس الأصوات بحد ذاتها. Okay? الفونولوجي بتدرس كيف احنا بندمج الأصوات مع بعض. فبالأول وبالآخر الفونetics هي الأهم لأن هي بتدرس كل صوت على حدة. تفرجينا كيف هذا الصوت يتكون وإلخ. All right. Okay, right now we'll be taking articulation process. I said before that articulation, when we say articulation, we mean the process by which we produce sounds, okay? So articulation process, when we produce sounds, we have three stages. First, we have the production, okay? Articulation of sounds by vocal organs. Okay, organs معناها اللي هو الأعضاء, okay? أعضاء الجسم يعني. So first we have the production اللي هو الإنتاج، احنا بننتج هذا. Then we have the transmission. بعدين احنا الانتقال، okay؟ يعني احنا أول شيء أنتجنا، هذا الإنتاج بينتقل، okay? After that we have the reception اللي هو الاستقبال. So first we have production, articulation itself يعني. We like produce sounds. Then we have the transmission stage when these sounds are like transmitted through air. The sounds move through the medium of air in the form of sound waves. The final stage, we have reception, الاستقبال. The sounds are heard by the human ears and perceived by the brain. Okay, why are we discussing this, like articulation process? Because we said in the first slide, we'll be taking sub-branches of phonetics. Okay, each branch, articulation, articulatory, acoustic, and auditory, it studies each branch studies each stage. Right now, we'll see how. So production, okay, phonetics, the study of sounds, studies all these three stages, yet every stage has its own study type. So for production, we have articulatory phonetics. For transmission, we have acoustic phonetics, okay, and reception, we have auditory phonetics. So each branch of phonetics studies these stages. Articulatory phonetics studies how the vocal organs produce speech sounds. By the way, these are the sub-branches of phonetics. So we have phonetics, which is a main branch of linguistics. Then we have some sub-branches of this phonetics type, which are the articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. Articulatory phonetics, بمعنى اللي هي production, it studies how the vocal organs produce speech sounds. فإحنا في articulatory phonetics ندرس إنه كيف أعضاء الجسم، بالأخص أعضاء الفم، اوكي، وعند رئتين اوكي من رئتين وفوق يعني. How they produce speech sounds. كيف هم بينتجوا الأصوات. Acoustic phonetics studies the physical characteristics of the speech sound itself. بدرسوا الخصائص الفيزيائية للصوت نفسه. Okay, duration, frequency and intensity اللي هو الشدة تاعت الصوت، مدة الصوت وتردد الصوت. هذه الخصائص الفيزيائية للصوت نفسه. I think like if we have here like some scientific stream students, I think you remember this in physics. عندنا الحاجة اسمها المدة اللي هو how long the sound takes to reach okay the time, frequency اللي هو التردد, and intensity اللي هو معناها شدة الصوت قديش هو قوي. This is the acoustic phonetics. Okay, auditory phonetics, it is the last stage, which is the perception or the receiving of these sounds. It studies the way humans perceive sounds by their hearing system. Okay, in this stage, okay, phonetics or these scientists, they study how the human ear receives the sounds that were first produced. So let's imagine that there is a conversation between two people, okay? So the first person like speaks, he gives a word, like maybe he says cat, okay, cat. So in cat, we have the letter K, A, and C. These are the three letters. So he articulates and he produces the word or maybe these three sounds. So this is the first stage, articulatory phonetics. We study how these organs produced these sounds. Okay, this is the first stage. It is separate from the second stage. In the acoustic phonetics, we study how these three sounds moved through the medium of air. خلال الوسط الهوائي. كيف انتقلوا خلال هذا الوسط عن طريق كيف هم انتقلوا عن طريق أمواج صوتية. So acoustic phonetics studies these characteristics, physical characteristics, the duration, frequency, and intensity. The last stage, it is the receiver, the person that receives. It studies how this person received these words and like why he is able to receive. For instance, يعني لو احنا مثلا جبنا شخص عربي وشخص like speaks English, yet this Arabic person he doesn't understand English, right? يعني احنا عندنا شخص عربي وشخص انجليزي، الشخص العربي ما بيعرف يحكي ولا الشخص الانجليزي بيعرف يحكي عربي. فالشخص العربي نطق كلمه، تمام، حكى مثلا قط اللي هو معناها بالص. Okay, like we have the first stage. He articulated these sounds by the organs of speech. Then they moved through the air. But the auditory phonetics, okay, the ear received these sounds. Okay, like the English person, he heard the word qat, but still, like his mind, he couldn't understand it. Okay, like, so auditory phonetics, it studies like why this person mind couldn't understand these, like these sounds. Still, they are existed in his language. Like we have like, okay, قط هذه كلمة معقدة because like they don't have the letter qa or the letter ta. Okay, anyhow, the idea is like auditory phonetics studies how people like perceive in their mind and with their ears. All right. Okay, as I just mentioned, articulatory, okay, it studies the production of sounds. Acoustic studies the transmission of sounds. Auditory, it studies the reception. Still, among all these three stages, we as phonetician, right, or like maybe linguist, we will be only focusing on articulatory phonetics. Okay, احنا فقط بهمنا المرحلة الأولى because we are like concerned with organs of speech. We are concerned like how individual sounds are produced. We are not like concerned like how these sounds are transmitted or how like people receive them. No, we are only concerned with the first stage, how people produce sounds. Nevertheless, linguists are only concerned with articulatory phonetics, the first stage, which is the stage of production of sounds, okay, by the organs of speech. Look at the chart. Okay, like we'll be having only the production. Okay, I think like we'll be stopping here because we only have 3 minutes left. Next time, we'll be talking about phonology. Okay. So I think like you maybe got some new information, right? Or maybe new pieces of information. Like we studied phonetics, right? And we said that we have 3 stages: production, transmission, and as well receiving. And each stage has its own type of studying: articulatory, acoustic, auditory. Yet still, we as linguists, we only are concerned with articulatory. Okay, guys? So don't put in mind that we will be studying acoustic or auditory. We will only be studying articulatory, how organs of speech produce sounds, and each sound, what is the organ that is responsible for its production. So I think we'll be stopping here. I'll be sharing with you the slide, okay, of linguistics, and see you next time, inshallah. Have a great day.